All right, moving on to the Blackwell Ghost Part 2. Now, one of the reasons that we had stopped watching these, outside of we were just trying to cover so many movies all the time. We were doing Found Footage Friday, Stephen King Saturday, Slasher Sunday, Monster Monday.
We just had too many movies.
Taco Tuesday. We like literally talked about like Werewolf Wednesdays, and we were going nuts at one point. Yes. It was ridiculous.
Crazy.
And so we were trying to get these done. But another reason is back then when we watched these, and this is why I'm pretty sure we watched part 4, is it was like the first one, was one way, and then the second one felt like a rehash. A recap. Yeah. And we're going to do the same thing again. And then the third one, it's like he goes to a new place, and then the fourth one, he comes back to the same place, and it's like a rehash, and it's all the same things. I didn't feel that way this time at all.
I didn't either.
Like,
I'm really curious
yes, it's a rehash, sort of.
More stuff happens.
But more stuff happens. He's by himself. Yes. There's more mystery. There's more, findings. No. I was so into it this time.
Yeah, same.
So, I'm so glad I feel this way this time. Because, the first time, I was just like, oh, so we're just going to do the same fucking thing again.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the next two, because we had the same impression there.
Oh, I think I'm going to really like the third one.
Yeah.
I think the 6th or 5th or something. I might have to look. I can't remember which one's the most loved, but it's somewhere in that middle area.
Okay, cool. But yeah, this one is very different.
So it opens up with him talking about how after the Blackwell Ghost, he went back to making movies, and he basically has an ad for his Raccoon Valley. Yeah. Raccoon City. I mean Valley. He definitely loves to kind of rip things off a bit. This is a bit of a, an homage to Paranormal Activity. These are different enough. I mean, these feel like their own thing for sure. I really enjoy these, so don't get me wrong. And then he says that while they're filming Raccoon Valley, that they stayed in Greg's house for 7 days, and during the time they were there, nothing happened. Yeah. Now, what I think is cool about this, I just thought about this, but I have a feeling that what he's doing is he's addressing the fact that in Raccoon Valley,
nothing happens.
The movie takes place, and around there, maybe even I think the house is featured in the film, which is his house, so of course it would be, and that maybe some of the behind the scenes and whatever shows them in that house. Yeah. So he's addressing the film he made, because if people who are watching the first film, he's making his real life canon to this. Yeah. Where he's like, oh, I'm addressing that I did stay in that house. Yeah. Even though it's his house in reality. Right. He has to address it in this fake world.
Right. To be like, I stayed
because
there.
His character is him. Yeah. And he really did make that movie. Yeah. And it was in that house. And I think that's his way of addressing, no, this is real, wink, wink, and that I did stay in that house, but, nothing happened while we were there. But in case you saw the house in the movie, right? I do want to bring that up, that, yes, we were there. Yeah, so I think that's really cool.
I do, too. I think that's pretty neat, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good attention to detail.
Yeah, and, it's very common, too, for, haunted places, it's kind of rare for there to be activity when there's a lot of people around. Usually, when people have experiences, it's smaller groups, 1 or 2 people, or less, or whatever, or 1 to 3 people or something. Yeah. So that's also very realistic, I feel. And he kind of also sets it up where, Greg even tells him, he tells us that Greg says that she is the most active around him. Yeah. So it's kind of setting up this he
kinship.
Might. Well, no, I was gonna say that he's maybe kind of more of a conductor for Paranormal Activity than he would have ever known, because he obviously goes to other places now and other stuff is gonna happen and everything. So maybe he can kind of facilitate that. Like, he's got some mediumistic qualities to him, you know.
You think he goes back to this house at any point?
I do really wonder. I kind of hope he does, but, I mean, this one, it's like Greg is selling the house, which I assume means he's selling the house.
No, not necessarily.
But maybe not.
I think he just needed to come up with
like a reason
an excuse
to get out of it.
Of like, you know, I have an urgency to get back there. There's only a certain amount of days, this and that. Like, he never knew how many movies he was going to make. And he probably also was like, I want to move on from the Blackwell house and do something else from here, but keep it in the franchise. I am curious to see if part 3 has anything to do with the Blackwell ghost.
Yeah, I don't remember if it does.
He uses the literal same covers in every one of these, where Ruth Blackwell is on the cover of part 3, and if she has literally nothing to do with it at all, there's no Blackwell mention, that would be weird. That would be very bizarre to continue to this franchise. Like, imagine Halloween 3 putting Michael Myers on the cover and being like, the return of Michael Myers, and Michael Myers is not in the film. Yeah. That would be like, huh? That's fucking bad. That's false advertising.
Yeah, that would be really weird.
So I am curious. I don't remember if I think it's in Florida. I don't think the Florida house, but we'll get there. Anyway, one thing I did not like about this movie, and I will point this out really quick. It's not a huge thing, and there's not a lot of it, so it doesn't really matter. One huge thing, though, I will say. I'll give a negative and then a big, big positive. The negative first, which is where I was going. For some weird reason, he curses the bleep words. Or the bleep words. He curses he curses the bleep words. He bleeps the curse words. I don't know why the hell I said that backwards. Yeah, he curses the bleep. He's like, curse those bleep words. I don't know why I said that backwards. That's hilarious. But he bleeps the curse words. What is this choice? Like, is this supposed to make it feel like it's a made-for-TV kind of like Ghost Hunters show?
I mean, I don't know what I don't know what that choice is. Just that he doesn't want to have curse words in there, I guess.
Then don't have your character say them.
I know, but maybe it was like, obviously a lot of this is probably like, you know,
what are these rated?
Ad-libbed.
Are they rated at all?
I was gonna ask you that too.
I don't think these get rated because they're like straight to VOD, so what does it matter?
But maybe he, like, you know, he likes that take, but it's the take he uses the curse word in, so it's like, just bleep it out.
I mean, he makes zombie films.
I don't know.
I can't imagine he's like...
It didn't bother me.
He wouldn't say them if he was against them.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think he's against them or anything. I don't know. It didn't bother me. I feel like tons of stuff like does that.
We should have an unfiltered version, right?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Because I curse the bleeps.
You curse the bleeps, yeah.
That's why I said it.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
I meant to. No, I did not mean to. That was weird. But the positive here that I will say is that thank you, Turner Clay, so fucking much thus far, so bleeping much.
Thank you so bleeping much.
For having zero fucking, like, you know, video distortion.
Oh, actually, there was one in the first, I think. In the very first. But it's like, it's just one, like, little bit of, like, the camera, like, kind of having a distorted thing for a second. Oh, because
the power goes out.
I don't know if it's when the power goes out, but there is, like, one moment. But that's it.
Oh, my God. The rest of them,
there's none in this.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The amount of found footage films.
Again, it's also...
that I have to watch where they do the, like, distortion to hide things. Like, stop. I hate it so much. Thank you so much for not having it here. They're clear and clean and never, ever cut away from anything. He shows it to us. Whatever he gets is in full display. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really like that too. And I think it also, like, adds to the believability.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Anyway. So he gets mail from a 98-year-old woman.
Uh-huh.
She sends him photos of the dead kids. Those are blurred out, which I don't have a problem with. That adds to the believability of hiding the identity and everything. And he even says in the opening that we are changing the names for privacy's sake and whatever, which is fine. That's like adds to the documentarian style. But he gets this, then he gets a lead on something. He flies out. He thinks that it's all for nothing, and he's like, well, great, I don't have a movie to make here. He does that in both movies where he's like, I don't have enough footage. This is BS.
Yeah, then
he's like, this is bull beep. And then he comes back to it, and he realizes, like, wait a minute, I think this is a map.
Yeah.
And he sees this very faint X, and so him and his wife, they drive out this time to the Blackwell residence when Greg's not even home, and starts digging around his backyard once again, not telling anyone what he's doing. His wife keeps being like, well, are you going to tell Greg? He's not going to care. And she's like, well, are you going to tell him? He's like, he's not going to care.
Yeah. That was really funny. It's like,
I get this. I've been this guy where it's like, you don't want to be told no.
Yeah,
so you're like, no, he'll probably be fine, right? It's like
it's easier to ask forgiveness and
exactly.
ask permission. Yeah, that's definitely the mentality there. I think it's pretty funny, and it also is like, him and Greg have clearly become closer over the time. So it's like I do think they're friends, and part of it is him just being like, he's literally not going to care. Like, it'll be fine.
One really cool piece of added lore in here. There's a good amount, but one from like the other film that he adds in here, which I thought was super cool, is that in the picture he realizes that the bedroom above him and what's below?
What's
kitchen?
Below the bedroom?
Something?
No.
It's not the kitchen. It's something else. I don't
remember
what's below.
What's below the bedroom.
But regardless, it was in a new addition to the house that was not there when Ruth Blackwell lives there, and this is why she does not haunt that area, because it's not part of her original house, which I really like. That being said, they kind of retcon that a little bit in their own film with their like found footage that they get as a bonus material at the end of this, where he's in that bedroom and you see something like over by the bed that's supposed to be like a human figure.
Yeah.
And I was like, didn't you just say in this movie?
Yeah, I wondered about that too, because I really liked that the bedroom was kind of off limits.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Greg has installed like 4 or 5 locks on the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's
well, she's
scary.
a ghost.
Well, because she's probably opening the door.
Come right through.
Though. Like,
Could
even
if
she didn't come into that bedroom, like, because whatever, ghost rules.
Yeah.
She could still, like, open the door and, like, bug him.
Yeah.
By just, like, opening the door a bunch. So that's,
Then we have a really funny little... He throws in fun character moments for him and his wife. This is kind of the last time we see his wife, but he gets a metal detector, and she's like, read the instructions. He's like, I don't want to read the instructions, and they have this kind of thing. And then he finally reads the instructions, and he has the moment where he's like, oh, I was doing this wrong. And she's looking at him, and he's like, okay, you were right. I'm sorry. That was a very, very believable, like, husband and wife moment, which I really enjoyed. So the treasure map leads them to this metal box, which he brings home. He opens up after he uses the skeleton key that he bought and some compressed air and whatever. And he opens it up and he starts digging out the mud, and you had realized it very quick. I mean, we already knew because we'd seen the film before, but you're right. I think it's pretty believable that he would think those were rocks.
I do too. I love that scene. I think that's actually one of the strongest scenes in both films, is him like just digging stuff out, and then like as it starts to pile up and you're like sitting there and looking, and then when he notices that they're not rocks, that they're teeth, that's great. I think that's really great. I think it's super scary and creepy because it's like, that whole thing is full of just so many teeth.
So what are we thinking here? She knocks the teeth out of the children, gets a lockbox,
keeps all the teeth,
puts all of the teeth
in dirt,
and then puts the dirt and the teeth in there, because it's not like that thing filled with dirt. That thing is sealed closed.
Yes.
She put that dirt in there.
Yeah.
Now, would that dirt be wet like that? Probably not. I don't know.
It is muddy. I don't know.
Maybe what if it's completely locked? I guess the moisture wouldn't escape.
Yeah, I don't know.
It probably smell like hell.
Oh god, it probably smell awful.
But yeah, I mean, so she knocked all her teeth out, kept it in some soil, and then like threw it in there in a block box for what? To come back to later to keep their...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was her... I don't know.
Like, what's her
You're
angle
right.
there?
Is there dark magic? Like, is she trying to do some kind
witch?
of thing or what? I don't know. But I think it's a very unsettling, like, find. And I love that he's like, I have to stop and, like, call my lawyer because
And then we don't hear about it again.
We don't, which is kind of a bummer because I would have
What does he do with it? Like, did the cops come? Happened? Like, what happened? I don't like
That's what I wonder, if he returns to that house in that story, if we'll get more follow-up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like that we just move away from it and never talk about it again.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing. I wish you would have addressed, like, okay, the cops took it, they're investigating, they'll get back to me, or whatever. Those teeth, I wonder if they're the kids that work there or whatever. Like, he would have talked about that as a documentary filmmaker who found human remains.
Yeah.
Like, what, dude? This is such a huge thing.
It's huge.
A treasure map to human remains in a backyard in a safe. That would be the craziest shit ever to find. So, it's spooky, but I just don't think he follows through on it enough, which is kind of a shame. Alright, so then he goes back to the house, and he's now going back by himself. While he's there... I think in the first night, the chairs move, the door opens, like, on their own. He's in the house by himself. He has a video of it happening. I mean, there's no way at this point. Now, I guess one of the issues here is what exactly is his goal now? He's already caught plenty of strong footage of the paranormal. What is his end game now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I gotta get back in there before the window closes and they sell the house. He doesn't have really any destination in mind or goal in place for what he's trying to achieve while he's there.
Yeah, from what I remember, I think that the next one has more of like a more of a focus as far as that goes.
Yeah.
I won't say because I know we'll talk about it, but I think that this one, it's kind of like he just wants to capture as much footage as possible, like while he has access to the house, which is fine.
That's
for
fine.
me. Like, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything, kind of like the first film, the nights, like, things ramp up as the nights progress, which I think they do in a very believable way. I think it's really great. And obviously when we get to the last night, like, that's when things are crazy.
Yeah. Well, the first night we get, I don't know if this is the first night or the second night, but regardless, he brings a record player.
Oh yeah.
With the record that was
song
sent to him by the 98-year-old woman. She said this is her favorite record. This is actually her record. So he brings it in, leaves it there for her to turn on. All she has to do is flip the power switch and it's starting to play. The door to the basement opens up. The ball rolls straight off the table and down into the basement. Holy fuck, I'd be freaking out.
Is that the last night?
I think
or
that's
is that the
night
second
2.
Night? I think
the music turns on,
the
doorbell rings, and he's like, fuck this, and he bails up the stairs.
That's night 2. All that's really believable, because then he's like, I wasn't expecting the doorbell. Because, the doorbell's like, just like over and over and over again, and you're just like, there's nobody out there, like, that's the ghost. The music is a great touch. The music is super scary.
Yeah. Because
it's like all old timey and like very upbeat and like doesn't fit it. So like just thinking of this like murderous woman like loving this song.
Yeah.
And we were both kind of laughing. I was especially about this, that it's like
she just wants to listen.
She just wants to listen to it, and he keeps like, this is what happens in night 3, where it turns on a bunch, and he keeps going over and shutting it off and shutting it off.
Like, why'd you bring this?
Yeah. And
why'd you bring my favorite song if I can't fucking listen to it?
But night 3 is really when she gets aggressive, because she's wanting to play that song, and he keeps shutting it off, so she's, like, throwing the chairs around. She opens the door to the, like, front of the house, like, just telling him to, like, go.
I'd be pissed, too.
You know, she's like, leave.
I'd be like, why the hell did you bring this if I'm not allowed to listen to it?
Yeah. All of that feels very aggressive to me, which is why what we were going to say in the first review, it's funny that he kind of ends this being like, I've thought of her, come to think of her as a friend.
So fucking weird.
And you're
weird.
like, wait, what?
Such a
She's
weird
like
comment.
a murderous ghost who clearly didn't want you there.
And he's like, and I also, I like to believe she thinks of me as a friend too. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't think she was friendly at all. I think the kids might have been friendly, but...
He never even considers them as an option. He never brings them up once.
That's pretty interesting, actually, because, like, I would definitely think that maybe not all of them, but, like, I thought they would be theirs, too, which sucks, because it's like, yeah, you get killed by somebody, and then you're, like, haunting the same house that they are.
Oh, my God.
That's awful.
Gotta hang out there with them.
You're like, great. I know. Maybe that's too dark.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
And then, the last night you got, like, the shades falling off of the windows, the doors to the outside all open up, the furniture moves around the house. Dude, I'd be...
Oh, yeah, the couch moves.
Yeah.
The like...
Gone.
The smaller couch is just, like, pushed totally back, which, that would just be so scary. Because, like, the amount of energy that it would take to do that kind of stuff. A lot of people, like, with real ghost hunting, like, ghosts kind of have to, like, they have, like, spurts of energy, like, where they can, like, kind of, like, ring a bell or turn a light on or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's, like, that kind of, like, moving stuff would be so scary.
When he says, like, I think of her as a friend and all that stuff, it's like, what has suggested to you that she thinks you're her friend?
I don't think,
like,
I think
she's trying to burn the house down.
I know.
She's fucking opening up the doors. She's like,
kind of
get
saying as
out.
Clearly as possible,
We're
like, leave.
not, we don't want you here.
But I think, although I don't think that's a great line, because it is kind of like, what are you talking about? I feel
think it
like
shows his, like,
he's...
obsession.
Yeah, I kind of think it's more like he's kind of... feels like he's come to know her from spending time in the house and being around that presence. And so he's like, it is like sad that he's like leaving and can't ever interact again in that way.
I think it would have been like, I know she's a murderer and I know that like she's awful, but in a weird way I'm gonna miss this.
Yeah.
That kind of
That's
stuff.
kind of what I...
Friend is...
That's what I feel
I think
like
he should have thought and rewrote that.
Yeah.
Friend is a little bizarre.
Yeah.
For sure. She is not a fucking friend.
She's not.
She is being antagonistic throughout to him, and her history is not good either.
Yeah.
I find it funny that, like, it's kind of sweet, but at the same time I was laughing because he's like, I left the ball in the basement since that's where it seemed to want it and whatever. And I'm like, bro, somebody bought that house like a week later and threw that fucking ball right on out. So it ain't gonna be down there for very long. No one's leaving that ball on the drain.
Whoever's buying that house, good luck. Hopefully they're prepared.
So then, the movie ends with him saying kind of goodbye, and then we get the recovered footage, which is like an add-on to the VOD stuff.
It was good. I liked that.
We have him visiting the abandoned sanitarium where she was put after killing the kids. There's really nothing to that scene. We just kind of see it, and
that's
it's like,
where she was.
That's where she was. Okay, moving on.
Unless we missed something. Unless there was supposed to be some figure, but I didn't see anything.
How could she be haunting that and this? It'd be someone else.
Yeah.
If anything.
I liked seeing it. I thought that was fine. And then when he goes back to the house to put up like the live stream camera so that he can watch things, that all was good because that's all very like, that's when he's down in the basement and there's just like running up and down the stairs, like running around upstairs, like all of that, and he's like, I'm leaving like right now. And I thought that was good. And
that's where we get the footage of the ghost in the bedroom, which doesn't really make sense to everything set up in this movie, so I don't like that addition. I think it makes no sense.
Maybe it's the kids hiding in there,
or maybe it's like she finally made her way in there because
and that's why Greg's leaving.
He's like, you lured her further than she's ever been,
right?
Because you're in there. She finally, like,
she learned to go in there.
She learned the layout of this house.
Learned the layout of the house. Yeah, I definitely think Greg's selling it because he's like, I can't handle the haunting anymore.
Her and Grandpa Seth need to get together.
They do.
Yeah. So, all right, the Blackwell Ghost 1 and 2 out of the way. We will see you in the next one for the Blackwell Ghost 5. Just kidding.
3.
Bye.
Right.
Beep.
Beep.
Beep, beep, Richie.